All right, let's talk about this latest dust up with the FBI director Comey. I pretty much not pretty much. I haven't done any videos on this particular subject because there are always twists and turns, and I found that it's better to wait a day or two before making a video to comment on subjects rather than jumping out there immediately without having all the facts that are or become available shortly. All right, this is my take on this. Number one, Hillary Clinton did this to herself in her quest for quote unquote privacy. She basically went over the line to try to keep information away from the public and away from her detractors. And in my opinion, she knew that she was going to run for the office of the presidency, and she was trying to keep information away from the other side that could have been used against her. Was that right? No, it wasn't. You know, she violated the rules. She was supposed to use a government server, and she didn't. So if she had done the right thing, we more than likely would be talking about something else rather than Clinton's Secret Service. Okay, so the initial blame goes to her. Director Comey needed to be fired. He won't be, because it will be seen by all as a strictly political move. But whenever she wins, if she wins, and takes office, he's out. No ifs, ands, or buts. He is out. Why is he out? Not because of the investigations that he's been in charge of, and not because of decisions he's made to continue investigations, but because of the unprecedented actions that he took. He chose to treat Hillary Clinton as anything but a private citizen. In the past, anytime the FBI does an investigation, they, for the most part, keep their mouths shut until they're ready to render a decision. When they are ready to render a decision, they either state that there is no basis to go forward and they are ending their investigation, or they state that there is a basis to go forward and they are recommending charges, and then they pretty much lay out their basic case. Director Comey, when he made the decision that he wasn't going to go forward with charges, should have stated just that and called it a day. But he was attempting to cover his ass, and possibly the ass of the FBI. So he goes into this long diatribe about what Hillary Clinton did right and wrong. And there was so much that she did wrong that people were led to believe that he was going to recommend charges against her. It was a bolt of lightning across the GOP bow when, at the very end of his statement back in July, that he said that he wasn't going forward with charges. All the Republicans got totally pissed off. Now, the Democrats were somewhat pissed off about him going into the long diatribe, but because they got the result that they were looking for, i.e. no charges, they basically kept their mouth shut and didn't disparage this guy. He should have stopped right there. Now, because the FBI was investigating former Representative Weiner regarding charges of interstate solicitation or sexting with a minor, they came across the laptop that he was using and found that Huma Abedin had also used that particular laptop. So now he comes out with an additional statement. Instead of him merely going back to Congress, if he felt that deep need, he could have gone back to them and said he will need to amend statements that he gave to Congress and left it there. He decides that he is going to go further and bring up the Clinton name. Well, once you bring up her name, that you are looking into emails that may be pertinent, and I stress the word may be pertinent, and then back off and say the emails may not have anything to do with servers, he has made ambiguous statements that cannot be defended against. Now, the latest information that I have is that Friday, when he made the initial statements, the FBI was seeking to obtain search warrants in order to go through Weiner's laptop. As of this moment, the FBI has not been able to make a case before a federal judge in order to obtain the search warrant necessary in order to go into that laptop. My question is, how strong of a case do they have in order to go through the laptop looking for Huma Abedin's communications between Hillary Clinton? And based on how long it's taken to get that search warrant, I would say they are thin to none. The other piece that I'm upset about, and again, I only got a puppy in this fight, I don't have a dog in this fight, is there has been a long-standing tradition that when the FBI is performing an investigation, that they do not interject themselves into political elections when there is less than 60 days of time before the actual election occurs. That he has done this with 11 days to go is astonishing, and in my opinion, it's absolute poor judgment. Now, everybody's got their own opinion, and obviously the Trump supporters and the GOP are jumping for joy with what this guy did, whereas the Democrats are basically lambasting this guy for doing what he did. The Congressional Black Caucus, who I have no respect for whatsoever, are screaming for additional information in order for the American people to be able to make an informed decision, as are a bunch of Democrats and a bunch of Republicans as well. The bottom line is that we do need to know exactly what they're looking at, because it's casting a pall over the credibility of Hillary Clinton, which is already in the tank and is seeking further based on these statements. Now, here's John Podesta in an interview with Jake Tapper, and his particular statements, which you may find interesting.
So much to talk about as this latest news rocks the campaign. But first, let's start with Hillary Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta. John, thanks so much for joining us.
Good to be with you, Jake.
So, John, yesterday you slammed FBI Director Comey for going, quote, long on innuendo, light on facts. But frankly, for months, your campaign has been striking a very different note when it comes to Director Comey. Take a listen to Vice Presidential candidate Tim Kaine just 1 week ago.
What I do know is this, that there was an extensive, as you know, Brett, investigation by the FBI under the direction of a wonderful and tough career public servant, Jim Comey. Jim was in the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Eastern District of Virginia when I was the mayor of Richmond, and he's somebody with the highest standards of integrity.
highest standards of integrity, wonderful, tough, career public servant. How do you use those words and then call his actions on Friday into question?
Very simple. A person with the highest amount of integrity can still do something that is wrong. So your question is asinine, to be honest with you. But here's Podesta's response.
Well, Jake, look, this was an unprecedented action. It broke with policy of Democratic and Republican Justice Departments. It was done over the advice of senior Justice Department officials. And, I think that the Justice Department has had a long tradition of not interfering in election, coming 11 days before the election. As I said yesterday, it was long on innuendo, short on facts. So we're calling on Mr. Comey to come forward and explain what's at issue here. So far there's no charge of wrongdoing. There's no charge even that Hillary and the reporting that backs it up coming from anonymous law enforcement sources indicates it may not be about her server. It may not be about her at all. So I think this is something that has been tossed into the middle of a campaign. We would have preferred that not happen, but now that it has happened, Mr. Comey really needs to come forward and explain why he took this unprecedented step, particularly when he said himself in the letter to the Hill that these may not even be significant.
Well, he said that it was pertinent to the investigation. And here's the world according to James Comey's perspective. FBI agents are investigating the husband of one of Hillary Clinton's top aides for allegedly sending illicit material to an underage girl. In the course of that, they stumble upon emails that seem to be relevant to the other investigation, the Clinton investigation. Suddenly, Comey finds that his sworn statement from September that the FBI had completed its review was no longer true. They had more materials. Now, Clinton didn't follow protocols when she started her email server. Huma Abedin didn't turn over that computer. Weiner was doing...
Okay, let's stop with the Huma Abedin part. Okay, Huma Abedin, when she gave testimony to the FBI, indicated that she had 4 separate email accounts. Okay, 4 separate email accounts. And she indicated exactly where they were. It was up to the FBI, okay, to ask her to provide that laptop that I guess it was Weiner's laptop that she may have used on occasion. All right, because as far as accessing emails, you can access emails from anywhere. You can access emails. Obviously, you would know your user ID and password, okay, from any family member's computer, any friend's computer, any computer, period. So if the FBI had decided to do their job properly and she provided them with copies or the addresses that she used for her various email accounts, and some of them, one account she indicated she had used so sporadically, but in the interest of transparency, she indicated what that email account was. They could have at any time given the various email addresses that she had and with her permission gone in and looked at all of the emails. It was up to them to do that. They didn't do it. So now all of a sudden they come across Anthony Weiner's laptop and happen to see Huma Abedin had used the laptop, okay, and now all of a sudden it's pertinent. Yeah, it is pertinent, okay, but more than likely they've already seen these emails. More than likely. I can't say 100%, but more than likely. But now they've thrown out this chum in the water for the sharks to start going after, that they've come across emails. They need to provide a hell of a lot more information as far as exactly what they're looking at than what they have, because this is one-sided no matter which way you want to look at it. There is no opportunity for the Clinton campaign to defend themselves, or even Huma Abedin to defend herself with these various aspersions that are not backed up with any substantial facts.
What he was doing, And you and the Clinton campaign seem to be blaming Comey for being transparent with Congress. What was he supposed to do?
Well, you look, Jake, I think he should have done, in my view, and in the view of many senior people in both Democratic and Republican administrations, 2 deputy attorney generals from the Bush administration have already come out. He should have taken further steps. Yahoo News reported last night that they haven't even looked at the contents of these. So to throw this in the middle of the campaign, 11 days out, just seemed to break with precedent and be inappropriate at this stage. If they're not significant, they're not significant. So he might have taken the first step of actually having looked at them before he did this in the middle of the presidential campaign so close to the voting.
And that's exactly what he should have done. When they came across him, okay, they should have dove in with whatever resources they needed to at least do a fast scan on, and this is supposed to be thousands of emails in this particular that were accessed by this particular laptop. Okay, they should have thrown in the resources to at least do a cursory review of what was on there, and more than likely, as I indicated before, these emails will probably be duplicates of stuff that they've already seen. But for them to come out with the statement that they came out with, it just, in my opinion, just isn't right.
But it's not that they haven't read any of them. Obviously, the FBI agents who stumbled upon them read some of them and determined them to be
Do you
pertinent.
know that?
Okay, Podesta's going to say the right thing. Taper doesn't know that. Podesta doesn't know that. The FBI hasn't said anything. The only thing that you know is that there were communications between Huma Abedin and Hillary Clinton on this laptop via email. But as far as what the actual communications were, nobody knows that other than the FBI, and they haven't said anything yet. So Jake Tapper is making a statement that is conjecture at the best.
Realized they didn't have.
Do you know that?
That's according
we
to the
don't know
report.
anything.
It's according to. I'm telling you, according to the reporting of Evan Perez, our Justice Department correspondent, it's not as though they didn't know anything in the emails. They stumbled upon them, found that they seemed to be pertinent to the Clinton email server investigation, and
Yeah, the only reason they're pertinent is because they went to the Clinton email server. That's the only reason why they're pertinent. If Hillary Clinton had had a .gov address and they had stumbled across the emails, they would not have been pertinent to the investigation. The investigation is based on Clinton's email server.
is why.
Seem to
So,
be
let me ask
pertinent,
you,
might not be significant 11 days before the election. Is that something you toss on the table, or do you take the time to do what other prosecutors have done in the past and make sure that if that it is so significant that you have to go forward with it? So I don't fault him for taking a look at whatever he's found. We don't really know what that is. But at this stage, having taken this step, then he at least ought to explain, you know, if he thinks they're significant or not significant, let him come forward and say why.
Exactly. So I'm going to end this here, but Comey has injected himself into the political process, into political elections. Why? Honestly, I don't know. This guy's supposed to be a straightforward stand-up guy. He had to realize what these last actions, and even the first actions when he made that long statement in July, were going to have on the elections. So he made a conscious decision to inject himself instead of taking the heat if something later on is found.